can talk about it.
Hey, welcome family and friends. Good morning. It's your boy Steve Haley at the Let's Talk About It show. You're probably wondering where my co-host is. Well, we just got done filming an amazing show with our brothers and sisters in the It's All Love Soul, where we talked about Storge love, which is the family love. And we thought that that show was or Lover Show, they like to call them Lover Shows, was so awesome. We wanted to share that discussion with you here, the Let's Talk About It show family, whatnot, because we're going to be talking about the next couple Saturdays about focusing on the family, and what better way to start with talking about Storge love. And so without any further ado, we're going to let you in on this conversation. Let's talk about it.
Good Saturday morning to everybody. You fearfully and wonderfully made people. Knock, knock. Who's there? 'Tis I, Brian. Love that joke. I made it myself. How y'all doing? The one that's sitting right there next to me. She's the reason why I have a family in the first place. She's my wisdom woman, my parental partner, my child consulting counterpart. She's my wife, Tina. Please say hi to the people.
Hello, everybody. Glad you guys could come hang out on this love episode.
Tina and I don't know about you, but I've been having a lot of fun with these love episodes this last couple of months. Like it's been months, but the love month, I've been having a lot of fun with that. We had some really excellent conversations with a lot of great couples, starting with the Austins. Shout out to the Austins. How y'all doing? Apostle, Lady L came through. We just spoke last week to the Whiteheads. The Whiteheads are funny. I don't know about what y'all talking about, but they funny. Good, super awesome people. Great people to build a friendship with. And now we're here for this week.
Yes.
The last week of the month. We're going to talk about that family type of love, that Storge type of love.
Yes. Every week has been so incredible, and I'm so glad that we were able to do it. So if you guys missed out, make sure you go back and listen to the love episodes.
Yeah, because they're out there. They are totally out there. We had a great time with them. Hope you guys have been blessed by them so far, but the series isn't over. We have one more couple, saving the best for last, coming through to hang with us. We started the month with family, so we think it's only right to close out with family.
Yes, it's all love. So let me tell you guys, this couple, not just because they're family, but they're also our spiritual family as well. My brother and sister, we call them affectionately Elder Bro and Elder Sister. They're amazing, not just because they're my family. Of course, I feel that way, but I've actually been able to have a front row seat to their growth spiritually, and I am so godly proud of them.
Well, they started off as your family, and that's what made them good. But they became my family, which made them even greater.
You know what?
So listen, people.
We start
you
early.
Guys are in for a treat with this beautifully and wonderfully put together couple.
Yes.
Very much so spirit led, very much so spirit filled. And we're going to talk about that. Like I said, that family, that Storge type of love, with this love episode entitled Storge Love, Faith and Family Matters. So let's get ready to talk about it without further ado, family. Let's bring in the elders from Destiny Christian Center all the way in Victorville, California. Yay, boy, that's all the way from Pacific Coast. We have the evangelist, the elder, Stephen and Kenise Haley. How you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're good, man. How y'all doing?
We over here chilling in the cut, over here on the East Coast doing our thing.
Blessed, honored to have family support. I tell you what, Y'all been through the trenches with us.
I mean,
I love
been
it.
in the trenches, dug the trenches with us, sat down in the trenches. I mean, y'all been all over the place with
Got a
us,
shovel to
man.
help us get some of
For
it
sure.
out.
So I appreciate the support.
Fruit. I love seeing you guys. I love what you guys are doing and what you guys are bringing forth and what God is doing in you and for you. It's just amazing and beautiful. And so I'm just glad that we get to be a part.
Yeah, man, it's all love.
It is.
It's all love.
You know, I see that it's all love by them sweatshirts, man. Where y'all get them from? Where y'all get them from?
It's our swag.
All right.
Yeah, it's our sweat. We have a bootleg over here. You know what I'm saying? So we have somebody say, "Hey."
Well, that's what they do in California. You know, they bootleg a lot
I
of
guess.
things.
Cali bag.
But listen, everybody. Tina and I are super happy that you guys are here. Listen. All of y'all watching, y'all got two of the funniest people sharing the same space. And Tina, you're here with us too, so don't.
I'm funny.
But
Look,
Speaking of which, I got a joke.
Bring it.
Got a joke.
Bring it. I do. How do celebrities keep cool?
How do celebrities keep cool?
They have many fans.
I like it.
Yeah, buddy.
For his mic, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta see the build up. It was there, brother. You brought it, brother. You brought
I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Nobody appreciates a good dad joke. I don't get it.
Hey, if nobody appreciates a good dad joke, this dad does. Right here.
So let's start with our first question.
That part.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so
How funny!
no, that was kind of by accident. So we kind of fell into that one. You know, it's like you tripped and was like, "Oops, I'm funny." You know what I mean? That whole thing. So, Tina's really trying to derail this whole situation, y'all. So we're gonna let her ask the first question.
All right.
Steve. Okay, so you remember how we were raised as kids, brought up in the Haley house. We had our traditions and things that we were raised on by mom and dad. And Kenise, I'm pretty sure you and your family had traditions as well that you were raised on. So now the two of you have come together to raise a family on your own. So our jump off question is, can your family background and how you were raised have an impact on your marriage relationship?
Wow, that's a great question.
It is.
Before we answer it though, we want to say again to your wonderful audience, we're just so glad and grateful and humbled and honored that you would have us here on the It's All Love with Team Jackson. I'm telling you, this is amazing. You truly though, they truly did save the best for last with us and whatnot. And so I'm just excited, really excited to be here. So but that's a wonderful question. So
it really is.
You want to go first?
I do, because this question hit home for me because it was something I remember growing up saying there's certain things that I did not want to do because of how I was raised. So, you know, my parents loved me and I loved them. However, they fought a lot growing up. So most of the time, me and my brother were outside while my parents handled themselves or whatever, fought. So I remember thinking, I do not want to yell. I do not want to yell. I do not want to fight. That is not what I want. And so the impact that it had on me is that when I did get married, I would not yell. I'm not going to yell at you. You're not going to yell at me. I think Stephen, one time when we first got married, yelled at me and I literally have no idea what he said because that's just not something that I'm going to do. And so I had to talk to him afterwards and say, we're not yelling at each other. We're just not going to do it. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I ever intended on doing because that's what I remember growing up, and just that really impacted me as far as what I was wanting in my own marriage is we are not going to fuss, argue, and yell. So that is that's just one of those things that really just stuck with me.
Right. And while we had that discussion, the reason why I never did it again was we had a near-death experience. Like after,
Yeah.
yes, we were on our way to Fort Irwin. I want to know this is the
Yeah,
time. Yeah. Okay. So
it
we were
is.
on our way to Fort Irwin and we were driving and we were arguing and I yelled at her. And as soon as I yelled at her, it was almost like there was a big like thunder crack, right? Like the sky had broke open or like that. That's what it sounded like. But what it
Yeah.
was one of the diesel trucks as they passed us
Kicked up a rock.
and shattered her window.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
as soon as I got done, like it was like I yelled and bah! Like that, and I was like, and it was the scariest thing in the world. And I was like, yeah, I took it as that was God's sign. Said you better never talk to my daughter that way. And so while she did have that conversation with me, it was more or less, you know, I thought that was God warning me. Do that again. Do that again. You hear?
Yeah.
And so, but yes, to answer that question, can your family background and how you were raised have an impact on your marriage relationship? Absolutely. Opposite of Kanice's parents, our parents, I'm not saying that they didn't argue, they just didn't do it in front of us.
Not at all.
At all. They really didn't. I really thought we had the perfect parents. And so that's what I wanted. And the Bible also says, and I want to read this in Deuteronomy 5:5-9, it says that God will lay the sins of the parents on the children to the third and fourth generation. So what we do as parents affect our kids. And so it's very important that we don't set a bad example. And so, yeah, I grew up in a home that was completely opposite. You know, my parents never fought in front of us as kids. Not to my knowledge. And like Kanice, it shaped how I wanted my marriage. I wanted my marriage to be like my parents. Like, I don't ever want to fight. And I remember telling my mom that, and I'm like, how did you and dad do it and never fought? She was like, child, we fought all the time. We just did it.
I was like, what the world?
She was like, we just did not do it in front of you guys. And I was like, man, I said, it was really hard. And I wanted to have that godly marriage, but you know, because I didn't have the temperament of my father. My father was a very, very mild-mannered man.
Long suffering.
And you have to be very, very, very patient in marriage. You just have to.
Because marriage be hard. It'd be hard.
Oh,
That
yeah.
part.
And that part, right? And so I would let my emotions get the best of me. And, you know, we'd be having, I don't like to say we argued. I like to say we have intense moments of fellowship. And so, but we tried our best to keep that away from our children. To even this day, they say, yeah, I remember when we would have those intense moments of fellowship. Our kids would always say, man, you and dad always love each other. Y'all don't ever get mad at each other. Y'all don't ever. And I'm like, man, that's how my kids used to talk. And so I was like, we used to talk about our parents. And so I was excited about that. So
yeah, I want to throw in this caveat. My parents didn't fight. I don't want you to think that they fought all the time. It's just that those moments that I do remember of that, I just did not want it. So yeah,
right.
I just didn't want it.
Even if I raise or look like I'm going to raise my voice a little bit, Kanice shuts completely down, and I can see when she shuts down. So I'm like, okay, I'm being too much.
Yeah.
Well, that's good information to have, man. And then hopefully people are listening to that, because yelling, fussing, fighting, all of that crazy stuff, and then you have a rock shatter your window.
That was scary.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to pull over to the side of the road for a minute to catch my bearings. It was definitely scary.
Yeah, there was glass everywhere. It was that's never happened before or after that. It's never happened.
I took the hint.
Well, I was about to say, well, I'm sure you got the hint. So let me caveat that question and dig a little bit deeper. with the way you were brought up and things like that, and traditions and stuff like that, and having, different backgrounds and stuff like that. You also have different sets of grandparents. So then you have grandparents that want to have influence on how you raise your children and the things that they've done and how they raise their kids. And you should implement that into the way you raise your kids, right? So the next question is there a certain point in time where boundaries should be set so that you can begin to build your own family traditions?
You wanna answer that, or you want me to tackle that?
You got it, because I liked your answer.
Okay, so yes, there's definitely got to be boundaries set, and it needs to be set in the beginning, even right away, even before you get married. I know with Kenisa and I, that's one of the things we had established. Her dad had took me to the side after I had asked for her hand in marriage, and we were getting close to that time. He was like, "Look, man," he said, "I know you live around your family, like literally around the corner," because we lived in Barcelona. My mom was literally around the corner, and my sister Yvonne was also like maybe a half a mile up the road, and we were really close knit. Valerie was a half a mile up the road. Tim was there, and he was like, "But do me this solid, and for at least the first." I think he said for the first 90 days, he said, let it just be you, Kenise, and your family, so you guys can establish what your family life is going to be like and stuff like that. I remember I used to say this all the time because when I first met your mom and when I met the girls' other grandparents or grandparent, I was like, there's but one queen and one king at 932 Mesquite. She the queen and I'm the king. Nobody is going to dictate what goes on at 932 Mesquite in Barstow. Not even, I said, not you, not my mama, none of that. I said, I'll cut you guys off quick, fast, in a hurry. I told that to all my family, hers as well.
Yeah, and even like as far as like grandparents go with like gift giving, I remember when the girls were younger and one of the girls wanted a game. And so their grandmother had asked me first, like they always ask, hey, is it okay if we get this? Or hey, is it okay if we get that? So that they keep in line with what we have agreed to allow our children to watch or play with growing up. So I think that's very, very important. Because I mean, grandparents are grandparents. They want to spoil their grandbabies. They want to do whatever they want to do with their grandbabies. But it's also important to have those boundaries set so that, you're still guarding your own children as well. So it's very important to establish it right away.
Yeah, because before Kenise and I had got married or before we had met, I was the spare of the moment type person, and my daughter's grandmother were spare of the moment type people, so they would literally call the morning of and say, hey, can we come pick up the girls and do this, do that, and the other? And I'd be like, yeah, let's do it, go ahead and do it. And I had to curb that because we would make plans because we worked so far from home and stuff like that, so we couldn't do things. So we had to plan things out, and so I had to tell folks, hey, if you want to do something with the girls and stuff, we're gonna need about at least a week in advance, because that's kind of how we plan our schedule. And so it's very, very important to set those boundaries.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, why is it that the grandkids are getting the things that I didn't get? I mean, I was here first.
True.
What happened to me? Like they get the extra cookie when I couldn't give. I had to eat the generics, and you actually giving them Chips Ahoy? Like, what the deal?
I'm saying, right? Like all of a sudden, our parents got money.
Right.
Real talk.
Yep.
So true.
That's crazy. That reminds me of me and Brian when we first got married. We were by ourselves, but we weren't by ourselves because I had a phone ministry.
Whew.
that I was you know, I was the elder, the deacon, the pastor, and the apostle of.
Sure. Sure.
Yo,
So although I didn't have a whole lot of family coming in, I had a whole lot of, you know, other ministry coming in. But
right.
when I said I do and he said I do, I said I do to have his back and for him to have mine. So I have another question for you all in regards to marriage, because when we come together, you know, we shouldn't have this mentality of I'm independent, you know, he ain't my daddy or she ain't my mama or whatever. But shouldn't we be not just accountable for one another, but be accountable to each other in our marriage relationship?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's
A good question. That's a great question because too often, and especially in our culture,
Mhm.
in the beautiful people culture,
Beautiful.
it's all about who got who in check and the dominance. I'm the man, and you got to respect me, and the Bible says you got to submit and all that kind of crazy stuff like that. And I'm glad, you know, folks understand that. But the Bible, let's go to the Bible and I believe this is Ephesians 5:21-28, and this is the Message. It says, out of respect for Christ, be courteously reverent to one another.
Okay.
One another.
Yeah.
Out of respect for Christ. If you're a Christian, that's first and foremost. I got to respect my wife, and she's got to respect me. We got to be courteous to one another, right?
Yeah.
It goes on to say, wives, understand and support your husbands in ways that show your support for Christ, right?
Mhm.
The husband provides leadership to his wife the way Christ does the church, not by domineering, but by cherishing. Oh my goodness. Can we pause, Selah, think on that?
Right.
So she's supposed to support me, right? But she's only supposed to support me if my leadership is the way that Christ led the church and not domineering.
Speak on it, bro.
Wow.
So I'm not supposed to walk around like I'm King Kong, like Denzel Washington. I'm King Kong around here.
Right. He
I
said,
get the big piece of chicken.
Ain't got nothing on me.
Ain't got nothing on me. That's not what the Bible says. It
Right.
says that my leadership is supposed to be cherishing. And then it goes on to say, so just as the church submits to Christ as he exercises such leadership, wives should likewise submit to their husbands. Husbands, oh God, I'm about to step on toes. Go all out in your love for your wives, exactly as Christ did for the church. A love marked by, what's that say, babe?
Marked by, where is it at?
Right here.
Let's see. Giving.
By giving and not getting. A love marked by giving and not giving. Christ's love makes the church whole. His words invoke her beauty. Everything he does and says is designed to bring the best out of her, dressing her in dazzling white silk, radiant with holiness. And that is how husbands ought to love their wives. They're really doing themselves a favor since they're already one in marriage. So we as husbands, when we're talking about being accountable and stuff like that, we as husbands, our words should be invoking beauty.
Okay.
Should make her feel beautiful.
Yes.
Because words matter.
We're supposed to bring out the best in each other. And that's what accountability is.
Yes.
It's not a bad word. It's you're bringing out the best in each other. And I love this verse because it's talking about we bring out the best in each other. His leadership is cherishing. I'm supporting him in everything that he's done, and in everything he does because he's following Christ in his leadership. So we're bringing out the best in each other as we both follow Christ.
Yeah, I believe I believe in Colossians it talks about that we should with one another prefer second place.
Yeah.
And so basically what that means, if I take second place in this relationship and she takes second place in this relationship, we're both number one.
I like that. I like that.
That's beautiful.
I like
Yeah,
that.
we're both
That's
number one. But if I'm always trying to be number one, then
Yeah.
she gonna try to be number one.
And it don't work.
It don't work.
Wow.
So in essence, you're competing against each other if you're trying to fight for that number one spot.
That
Yes.
number one spot. And really the person who should have the number one spot
Is
is Jesus.
Really.
Is Jesus. He
Yeah.
should have the number one spot in our relationship. He should be the one that connects us at the top of that the love triangle.
Yes.
It's us and him.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yep.
I dig it. I
That's
like
the
that,
ultimate
man.
accountability
you know what I'm
right
saying?
there.
That's good stuff right there. He brought all the word with him. What does Elder Bro say when he in church? Talk about it, sir.
Yeah. Talk about it. Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this one question, Steve. In the Bible, Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way they should go. Even when he gets old, he will not depart from it." Right?
Yes.
And I believe in my heart, this means that we are to train up our sons and daughters in the word and instill the word into them, and get that biblical principle. So when they're grown, they won't leave from the word. But when you're looking at the word, and I'm looking at this and I'm trying to do my homework on it, I come to see that it says that we should train them up in the way they should go. And so many times you have parents that want to live vicariously through their children, whether it's sports or, I wanted to be a doctor, so you're going to be a doctor, that whole thing. But it's to train them up in the way they should go. And so us as parents, we have to direct them and make sure they're on that trajectory, right? And I love what I see with you and you supporting my superstar nephew and his baseball. You know what I mean? Dude's about to be all world and everything like that, hitting grand slams and home runs.
Don't forget about auntie and uncle. We want
I just need an autograph. You know what I'm saying? If I can just get an autograph. But with that, you're training him up in the way he should go. So he found an interest. You're training him with that. You're going down that path. Now I'm going to assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, if he came home and said, "Dad, I'm going to be a bank robber when I grow up," I believe 1,000% you'd be like, no. So you would start to redirect at that moment. So my question is, how important is it for us to be supportive of our children while training them so that they can begin to make the right choices before they leave home?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. It's very vital. I mean, the Bible. And what's so interesting is our culture teaches that it's the wife that's supposed to be the nurturer, that's supposed to be the trainer, that's supposed to be the disciplinarian, that's supposed to raise the kids. But that's counter biblical, because the Bible says in Ephesians, I want to say it's Ephesians chapter 6, that it's that fathers are to nurture, right, and raise their children in the admonition of the Lord. Right. It's the fathers. The Bible puts that responsibility on the fathers, and we're also not to provoke our children to wrath. And I'll talk about that later in the show. But it's important for us, vital for us as fathers, to support our children. Check what I say, in righteous endeavors.
Sure.
Right. So when my son came to me at 5 or 6 and told me he wanted to play baseball, first and foremost, I was heartbroken because I'm a basketball guy.
I got you, man. I got you.
I'm a basketball guy, and I literally told. I said, "Son, I said, look at me. I'm 6'5", 6'6". I know nothing about baseball. I'm a basketball. What are we talking? That's not how we get down. Haley's are known at least my generation or my clan of Haley's are known for basketball because we were tall, this, that. And I didn't know that all my cousins played football and baseball, as well as some basketball. But he was adamant he wanted to play baseball, and it's important. Not only my son, my daughters, Victoria and Ayana want to do sports medicine. Kaylin wants to teach English abroad or like that, and all of those are righteous endeavors. Like you said, now if they said I wanted to rob a bank, do a life of crime, no, we're going to have to steer that. Maybe you mean you want to be a legit business person. We can help you out with that and stuff like that. But the key word, the key word is righteous, right? Again, now I'm not saying that because Kanisa and I we're really into preaching the gospel and all that stuff like that, and doing kingdom work, and so our kids don't have to follow in those footsteps. However, what I'm saying is, if they want to teach, we want to teach them or play baseball or sports med. We want to teach them godly principles. We want to teach them, integrity, be truthful, be honest, be loyal, be kind, those type of things. So then that way, whatever they do, they still reflect the character of Christ. Brings God glory. Yeah. So we want them to have morals and values.
Yes.
Let me ask this follow-up question. You mentioned something about basketball and your heart was broken and all of that. Could it be that because I wasn't there to help him with the basketball, he chose baseball? I'm just trying to clarify.
I thought this podcast was a podcast of truth.
I'm just trying to, what I'm saying? You're 6'5", but I'm 6'7". You had like a 20-inch vertical. I had like a 48-inch vertical. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing it out there.
My God.
Yeah, if memory serves me correctly, I dominated. I dominated that situation. So but that could be a topic for another discussion, another time. Because I don't want to pull out footage of me dominating you.
Right, because we always everybody has footage, but we just it was unfortunate that we could not get into the ring together. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a pay-per-view moment right there. That would have been the show. You know
it would have been. I put it to you this way. I think we were both great in our time. I think I was the MJ, the GOAT, and you were like the Kobe Bryant, the undergoat, the understudy.
Wow.
I think that's how that goes.
Wow.
Oh Lord.
It's funny how he says that, and he almost believes it himself. He almost believes it.
Lord have mercy. Kenise, what are we gonna do with these two?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Sizing each other up. Speaking of sizes, families come in different.
Good segue.
Different shapes and sizes.
Thank you, sis.
Even blended families, which we both have.
Yes.
With that, with blended families, and some blended families they take a little bit longer to, put their families together than others. So my question to you both is, what advice would you give to families that are about to blend or have already blended and they're trying to arrive at that Brady Bunch, I guess you could say, moment or happy home and fun times?
Yeah. So I think for me is you've got to leave the past in the past. So you can't bring in what happened in a previous relationship or what happened in, whatever happened before. You got to leave that stuff in the past because you're trying to establish something new.
Right.
You're trying to build something new. Yes, you may have children and, family still, but you still have to, like we discussed before, establish those boundaries early on. He and I didn't have to deal with like exes or baby mama or baby daddy, anything like that. But
Thank you,
we
Jesus.
still had to deal with things like our past. We still had to deal with things in our past, and we had to learn to, like, it was a long road, but we had to learn how to leave those things in the past. Like,
Oh yeah.
past relationships is in the past. We're doing something new now. So it's very, very important to, as you're trying to blend, to know that this is something new, and we want to establish our own thing in our own time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, blended families, I mean, it's biblical. And, you know, God even established blended families. I believe it's Deuteronomy chapter 29, where it talks about if if brothers live on the same property or in the same area, and one brother dies and the wife is still left with no children, the brother is to come in and marry said woman, and the first child that she bears would be considered the late husbands and stuff like that. So even and that's what God commanded his people. So he restored he commanded blended marriage, and what that is, it's almost like a restart. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if the blended marriage came as a result of the death of a loved one or just the death of a marriage, it's the blessing in the blended family is you get a do-over. You get to start again. God gets to create a new thing. And then one of the other things that I would say is the word step. Yeah, get that out your vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? We again, it was one of the boundaries that we set coming into our marriage. We sat and talked to our girls and said, hey, me and your mom, and she said, me and your dad are going to get married. Do you know what that means? And they both said, yeah, he's going to be my daddy and she's going to be my mommy. And we both made it clear to them that you didn't have to call us that. But if you desire to, I told her girls, you can call me Mr. Haley or Mr. Steve or like that. And they was like, no, we want to call you dad, and vice versa. So we had those boundaries, or we made that establishment up front and at the beginning. And then another thing I would tell people who are getting into a blended family is don't allow your kids to separate you.
Yeah.
Don't allow your kids to separate you.
If he says no, it's a no.
We gotta have.
I say no, it's a no. Like, don't come to me and get one answer and then try and get another answer. Like my kids they knew early on, it just doesn't work.
Right.
Gotta be. Kids do that anyway, blended or not blended.
Yeah, blended or not blended, but you got to be a united front. Yeah. And it took a while for me to understand this. I don't know about her, but it took a while for me to understand this. Yes, I'm their dad, but no, I'm not. So what I mean by that is when it comes to discipline, when it comes to certain things, if I was dealing with her children, before I dealt with them, I asked, hey, this is what happened. This is how I believe we should handle it. I considered her input. You got to learn to consider, because if you don't, they'll remind you, you ain't my daddy. Or you ain't my mama, you ain't my parent, this, that, and the third. And so, yes, I'm the one raising them. Yes, I'm the one who got them under my insurance, this, that, and the other. But consider the other one's opinion. And then the last thing I want to say about this, because I thought this was really, really good. When we're talking about the word blending, right? It reminds me of a choir or an orchestra blending sounds and stuff like that, your voices or the instrument, in order to make wonderful music, harmonious music, right? And so now the problem with this is some people hear the word blended or like that, or harmony, and think I mean same. We got to be the same. We got to parent the same. We got to speak the same. We got to act the same. And that's not what harmony is. Harmony, that's unison. What harmony is agreement of ideas, feelings, or actions, or a pleasing combination of different parts, right?
Sure.
Unison is the writing, playing, or singing of parts in a musical passage at the same pitch or an octave identical in musical pitch, right? So unison literally means one sound.
Right.
In Latin, right? In Latin and in direct participation in the play, to play or sing the same note together or as one. Harmony means different in Latin. It means different. And directs the participation to produce different notes together, creating a pleasant chord or harmony. However, we are all playing or singing the same song. So we all are going in the same direction and stuff like that. Kanice is a very quiet, cool, calm, collective person, right?
For the most part.
For the most part. I'm animated, right?
And
loud and sometimes could be very direct and stuff like that. And so
funny.
And so sometimes when we're parenting our children, we both we both want the best for our kids.
Yes.
But sometimes they need mom's touch. And then sometimes they need
you need to deal with them.
Yeah. And we got to be able to balance that out so that it blends together. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 12:25 that we're supposed to work together.
Yes.
But we're all one body, right? This makes, and it's the New Living Translation, it says, this makes for harmony among the members so that all the members care for each other. And so we got to, God calls us to be in harmony, not so much unison.
Right.
Because could you imagine if we were both loud and crazy?
Or quiet and meek?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
I will tell you that aside from the one-on-one pay-per-view for me and Steve, I would pay big money to see both of you go loud and crazy. I would pay like, you know what I'm saying, top dollar. I want like front row seat to that. I'm be like, ooh, I didn't see that coming.
Oh, let me tell you something.
Oh gosh.
When this one turned up, dude, I bow down. I remember one time somebody came crazy at me. This was early in our marriage. I don't think we was married a month. And somebody came crazy at me. And I'm telling, I felt bad for that person. I was like, oh my goodness.
It doesn't happen often.
It doesn't.
But when it happens.
I was like, I'm so glad she's on my team.
I dig it.
Wow.
Steve, if I can ask you another man's side. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have to protect.
She don't play.
That I'm thinking of that song, Talk to Me, I Talk Back. That one. Yeah. Is that what there it is?
The one I think of is Try Jesus. Not Kanice. Because she'll throw hands for real.
I've never fought anybody.
No, she ain't had to.
Just with my words.
Just with her words.
Gotcha.
Just with my words.
Steve, if I can ask you another question, boss man.
Yes, sir.
And you kind of already alluded to it with the Ephesians piece, but it plays in very well here. Being a father, I don't know about you. I get the feeling that it's the same with you as it is for me, that it's one of the most important jobs you'll ever have while you're living and breathing. And I believe that it's so important that men are in their children's lives, as you very elegantly have already stated, for us to be nurturers and things like that. But if I'm shooting straight with you, brother, them children, I mean, them children, brother, brother to brother.
Yes.
They can push that button. They can do that. You know, do. Let me see if I can rile up that type of thing. But
We
like
have
you
one
alluded
in
to in
particular.
Ephesians,
Yeah, one in particular that can do that to him in an instant because they're so much alike. They're so
mm,
much alike. Oh my
I got
God.
one of them on my team. I got one of them on my own.
Mm.
But like you said in Ephesians 6:4, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them, rather bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. While I'm bringing up my children, I was more focused on the discipline. You know what I mean? I would be that direct disciplinarian. I'm in your skin. I'm telling you the way it is because the world ain't gonna treat you right. So you need to learn it from me and all this other stuff, right? I was like, you can hate me, you can hate me now and thank me later. But I was also thinking about if you hate me now, you might hate me later,
Absolutely.
Mm.
and you're not gonna want to talk to me later because I treated you so weird, so bad, so unorthodox, so unprofessional, if you will, and all those other intangibles that you don't want to attach to your children. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn because one of my kids, I didn't speak to him for almost 3 years.
Mm.
You know what I mean? As they got older. So, question for you: as men, how can we find that sweet spot that you talked about earlier? And giving our children that discipline and that instruction without provoking them to anger?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
Because like my wife alluded to earlier, there is one that yeah. I mean, all of them can take me to a certain point, but this one, I'm
But
telling
it's
you,
just that one.
it's just that one. And I'm
Not
still
mine.
learning. I'm still learning the sweet spot, especially because as your kids get older, I got adult children or adults, like the Austins like to say,
Mhm.
kidults or like that. And I'm learning because our bishop had shared with us um, that you're not going to be able to tell those ones what to do because they're adults to a degree. And so I've learned I've learned when when you're talking to those children, I'm still learning. um you wait for solicit advice.
I dig it.
um you don't force your way in on them. You're more of an advisor at this point,
That's
and
exactly what you said.
Mhm.
Yeah.
not so much a parent. Now my younger ones, and we had that discussion
Mhm.
when we went back to Ephesians. It talks about children, obey your parents and the Lord, for this is right. Then it goes into honor your mother and father. I told our older children, our adult children, what I'm saying, no, you don't have to obey us, but you're gonna have to honor us. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You have to honor. But I told my younger ones, y'all still got to obey. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still got to obey. And another thing that I'm trying to learn is when we talk about don't provoke them to anger, and this is one my wife really has to help me with, is I try not to ever punish out of anger.
Okay.
I take a moment and try to discuss things with God in prayer and discuss things with my spouse. And then remember that you as the father are the first representation of what God as the heavenly father is to their children.
True.
So based on how you treat your kids, that's how the kids are going to see their heavenly father, because the only father they got physically with them on
Yeah.
is you. So if you're always berating them and acting crazy and erratic, when they talk about a heavenly father, the only image they'll have is how you treat them. And so
Facts.
we got to remember that foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, even grown children, right? And it's the rod of correction that drives that out. That's what the Bible says. Now, people say the rod of correction and think automatically I got to beat my children or I got to spank my children. And that rod of correction can be many things, like,
Sure.
taking the Xbox away or the PlayStation, or taking something that they really, really like. There's other forms of correction that you can do as fathers, that we can do as fathers, that'll be much more effective than spanking our children, because I believe in spanking, but we don't have to spank all the time. And then again, God's helping with me with this. God don't always punish us when we do wrong. He likes to show grace sometimes. And so as fathers, we got to know, is this a time to punish, correct, or is this a time to show grace?
Sure.
And stuff like that. I remember a time in particular that the one that likes to take me there, she had did something that was really, really challenging. And I was disappointed, but God told me to show her love and show her grace. And that's what I did. Now, we talked about the situation later, but it was out of a place. The first thing I did was I embraced her and told her how much I loved her. And I left it at that until later on, where we could discuss that situation. So sometimes you don't always have to bring down the hammer. Again, I'm still working on that, but
but it's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, I've learned
not that your older children now are disobedient.
Right.
We still demand respect. Like you're going to be respectful. You're going to, abide by the rules of our house. But they are older. But our younger kids know that, hey, you guys still have these rules that you have to follow. The older ones have a different set of rules that they have to follow. So yeah,
absolutely.
Fair enough.
Wow. Wow.
Fair enough.
That's deep. That's deep. God showing us grace. Yeah. We don't always have to punish. Wow, that's gonna stick with me for a minute.
Because think about it, man. I mean, we deserve punishment. Ooh. God deserves to punish. I mean, we sin on a daily, time after time, and he doesn't all the time. He doesn't punish. You know what I'm saying? He shows us grace, and he allows us to get out of some of those sticky situations or precarious situations that we place ourselves in. You know what I'm saying? And it's our fault, 100%. One thou wow, like
one thou wow.
One thou wow. It's our fault that we're in that predicament. But God says, you know what? I'm gonna show you grace. I'm gonna help you out.
Is that another Cali thing? One thou wow.
I never heard that. Not from Cali.
Yeah, Snoop. You ain't never heard Snoop say that? One thou wow.
Nah.
I'm more of a Wu-Tang cat myself.
I got you.
So we are down to, is this the last question?
This is the last question.
Oh, longer. But let's get to it. All right. So we live in a time right now where, there's so much stuff going on in the world, and there's so many different agendas, and people are trying to, get your kids to believe this is okay and that's okay, from politics, race, religion, to who they are and who they were born as. We're just going to leave that alone for right now. But my question is, how do you ensure? Well, let me read the scripture in Joshua 24:15. It says, "As for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord." So my question to you is, how do you ensure that what you're doing at home doesn't get corrupted by the ways of the world?
So for me personally, I have to be the loudest voice that they hear, the most constant, the most obnoxious. Sometimes I want to be the loudest voice and the ringing in their ears whenever they see different things or hear different things at school or wherever they are. I want it to be, my mom would say this, or my mom would do this. We have to be the loudest. Parenting is so much work, and especially nowadays where social media is just everywhere. Crazy. So I have to guard my kids, even my younger ones. What I did is they don't have a camera on their phone, because half the time when they get in trouble at school and stuff like that. So they don't have a camera on their phone. They don't have the Facebook or anything because they're too young. There's just too much out there that they can be exposed to. And I can't 100% protect them from everything, but what I can do, I'm going to do. And I'm going to be the loudest voice that they hear. So that when they are out there, it's going to be, you know what, my mom said this, so I'm not going to do that. Or this doesn't sound right, or this doesn't look right, so I'm not going to do it. I just want to be as in their ear and in their head as much as possible. So we talk a lot. As soon as they get home, they talk to me a lot more than they talk to him. But I want that open pathway. I want that open communication. Some of the stuff they say, I'm just like, why? But I want them to be able to talk to me. So you have to hear it. You just have to hear it, and you just have to, okay, take it in, and then, okay, but this is what I think, maybe how we should do things, or what you should say. And then, prayerfully, they listen and they do, they take your advice on. So do I have this down packed? No, not at all.
Better than me.
But I take it upon myself to be the loudest voice that they hear. There's something that I do with my kids that I tell them, I want them to remember this even when they get older. And it's something small, it's something simple, is that when I'm driving with them, whoever's in the front seat, I just hold their hand. And I'm just like, I just want you to remember this, because when you get older and you're driving by yourself or whatever, I want you to remember Mom always held your hand when she was in the car and she was driving. Wow. So just little things like that. Like I always say things to them, and I always tell them stories, and I always, he's not so much, but I always say whenever they leave the house, I always pray for them, dropping off at school, pray for them. Like just it's always the little things, but they last their whole life. So
exactly. Thank you so much, sis, for being like that. I am just like that.
Yes.
I have my little things that I do with my kids, and they're like, Mom, but they remember them.
Yep.
Tina would come to an argument, and the kids was arguing, and she would say, Hey, what if one of you walked outside and got hit by a bus today and you couldn't apologize and you're going to feel bad? I mean, she would just go in. Yeah. And now those same kids that she used to tell that to would come into this house and say, I know, Mom, I know. What if one of us went outside? I get it, Mom.
And even my adult children, they'll call me and they're like, Mom, did you pray for me today? And I'm like, why? You still pray Psalm 91 over me, huh? Mm-hmm. Why? I almost got in an accident and they missed me by this much. And I know it was because you was praying.
Yep. Exactly. They know. Even if it seems like they don't, they do. They know.
But it's the same. It's the same way like when we were raised, Steve. Remember when Dad used to sit us down and we was learning Romans 6, and we would always make fun of the last part, and we walk in newness of life.
Absolutely.
And we were making fun of the whole thing. But today, I bet you remember all them scriptures.
I do, and I appreciate my parents for being that way. Yeah, I appreciate the way Kanice's parents, because there'd be a lot of things that we wouldn't know to be praying about as parents if Kanice didn't have that that particular approach. I'm learning. I'm getting better. I'm just not, because there'd be some things that sometimes I'm good with just listening. But other times you catch me on the wrong day. That is the most stupidest thing you could ever say. Why are you thinking that way? That don't make no kind of sense. Make it make sense. And
that's it right here. All day.
A long drawn out argument. And Kanice is the whole time. Kanice looking at me like, why are you even going there? Like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. It's not something they doing. This is just what, and I'm just like, I don't want them thinking that way. You know what I'm saying? But so I'm learning. I'm a work in progress.
And the flip side of that is like we went to dinner one day because Stephen and I had talked one day, and we said we need to have the kids do this. And I just asked them, and they're like, yeah, okay. Where we thought it was a big deal, but had he asked, it would have been different. But what they told me is
I would not have asked.
What they told me is, Mom, you're not really asking us. You're really telling us. You're just putting it as a question, but we know that you're really telling. And it's true. But it's like, we have that relationship where they know that, hey, if I'm coming to you, asking you something serious, it's not really a question. I'm really telling you to. And they responded correctly. So.
Yeah, because I'd have mucked that up. I'd have mucked that up big time if it was left up to me.
But there's that appreciation for the moms and stuff like that and how they handle things, and there's that appreciation for the dads and stuff like that and how they handle things. And I like what Steve was talking about with the appreciation piece. But there's just one more appreciation that we have to give, and that's to you all, you two, Steve and Kenise, elder, evangelist, beautiful people, spirit-led people. Y'all brought it today. We thank you guys so much for all the talk about it-ness that you brought to the Love Episode today. And most importantly, we thank you guys for the support that you guys have shown us.
Definitely.
It's been super awesome. For real, thank you for being our brother and sister, and it's been incredible. So we want to thank you guys again. I want to give you guys the last word, but I also want to give y'all a shout out. So everybody listening, if y'all are in the high desert, and when I say high desert, that thing is up there. High desert, you understand what I'm saying?
Hot desert.
The hot desert. All the way over there on the West Coast. And if you need a church home, there are some wonderful elders that I know, 2 of the best in the business. They're also evangelists. They're good people. They may tell a little fib about basketball here and there, but they're awesome good people. Awesome good people. You want to get down to 14380 Armagosa Road in Victorville, California. That's the Destiny Christian Center, led by Bishop Jesse and Dr. Helene Giddens. In-person service is Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Also, like we've been saying, these beautiful evangelicals right here have a wonderful show called Let's Talk About It. It's biblical truth. It's amazing. Y'all need to check it out. It's on YouTube every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, which is 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You can also follow them at KLM Let's Talk About It. Elders, any last words, any parting words for the people?
Man, no, not really. We just want to say how
Thank you.
Yeah, how much we enjoy watching you guys' growth and journey.
Yes, your ministry is beautiful.
Yes.
Your testimony is phenomenal.
Yes.
It's just, it's really a testament to what God can do. And I love that you guys share, and you guys are so open and transparent with it. So thank you guys. Thank you both. Yeah,
keep doing what you're doing. I'm telling you, you're touching people's hearts, and I thoroughly believe that marriages are being amended and growing because of It's All Love of Souls with Team Jackson. I'm just like, I'm excited that we got the chance to hang out with y'all. I hope this ain't the last time that we hang out with y'all on the Love Episode. Maybe we can have you guys on the Let's Talk About It show.
For sure.
To talk about
we there. We there.
Yes.
Steve, Kenise, so much appreciation to you guys. Kenise, you said testimony, and you can't have a test without testimony. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now that Tina has tested my patience, but I'm still here. I am still here. She
it's
came
all
back.
love, y'all. It's all love.
Listen, thank you guys so much for your support. We're gonna put y'all in the green room real quick. Kenise, we have some food for you. Y'all want to leave already? Want to get up out of here?
No.
We're gonna put y'all in the green room. Kenise, we got some food for you. Steve, don't eat Kenise's food. They are awesome people. They are super awesome people.
Kenise
funny.
is funny.
Kenise,
Stephen, not so much.
Kenise has learned the ways of funniness from Steve. You know what I'm saying? But
She's
all
funnier
but
than
all in all, out of us four, all of y'all have learned your funniness from me. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I just want to make sure we told the truth on that situation here. We're gonna go ahead and get out of this piece. That wraps up Love Month.
Wow.
That's it.
For joining the Let's Talk About It live broadcast with Steve and Kenise Haley. We pray that today's show has inspired you to be the change in the world that you want to see and to act now to become that change. If you enjoyed today's live broadcast, like, follow, subscribe, share, and click on the notification button so you don't miss out on any and all future shows. Also, if you do not have a church home that you fellowship in, we are inviting you to join us and follow our pastors, Bishop Jesse and Dr. Helene Giddens, pastors and founders of Destiny Christian Center, Victorville, California, via Facebook and Instagram Live every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. and every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also go to the church's website at destinychristiancenter.org and view services there. At Destiny Christian Center, you will receive a Right Now word giving you the keys to victorious Christian living in your faith, family, and finances. Thank you all again for joining us today. And remember, now that we have talked about it, let's